Welcome to Beerstories from Beerstory Brewhouse. This is a grain to glass video with my new Imperial Stout, 11.2%. This beer was a crazy beer to brew, 12-hour brew day. We used a little bit special techniques, but I'll tell you more about that in the video. So as I said, this is kind of a special beer. It's brewed together with one of my friends who has a small brewery. It's like a 3-barrel brewery system. And it was a crazy brew day. Everything went wrong from milling the grain to, I got 2 beer showers. A fermentation tank was broken. We had to clean another one. There was a whole mess brewing this beer. So that's why we called it Black Lock in Danish. Sort hell. But it's a great beer. It turned out fantastic. So what the special thing about this beer is that we took the first runnings and boiled it into a syrup, and then we mashed again. And the second runnings we mixed together with the first and ended up at the right amount of, we boiled it back into the right amount of sugar to the original gravity that we wanted. So that's kind of the special thing about this beer. You have to, if you want to brew the exact same beer, or you can just leave that part out, but the boiling makes it really special. Boiling for, I think it was 6 or 7 hours. We boiled this for, and that creates a lot of Maillard reactions that gives it way more complexity, way more depth. This caramelization, and we also got some pretty powerful licorice notes out of it, which I didn't expect in this beer because it's mainly just chocolate malts that makes the color here. So I really didn't expect that, but it turned out great. It tastes awesome, and the foam just stays forever. It's it's just such a nice body to it, such a nice head to it, and the flavor is also just really great. It's actually pretty bitter, so I mean, you get that it's a heavy beer, but it's still pretty easy to drink. You can sense the alcohol as well, but I mean, it's pretty easy to drink. It's even great with food. Heavy food, that is. So it's a really great beer. So if you're up for it, I would recommend you to try to do the long boil, but otherwise you can just brew it as the recipe says here. So the vitals, it's we brewed about 350 liters and then boiled it down to 200. But that's kind of irrelevant for this recipe. This recipe I've just matched it to fit 25 liters or 6.5 gallons. So I guess that was it for that. ABV 11.2%. Original gravity is 1113. Final gravity is just about 1028. And the color, it's pitch black, and you can also see it on the foam. The color is about 119 EBC. So it's a really dark beer. When there's just a tiny amount left in the glass, you can actually see that it's kind of a reddish color actually. So it's not a black red. It's not a black color. It's a black red color. IBU's 56. I think ours is actually higher, but I think 56 is fine for this beer. But you could go higher. I think that will make it sweeter than our beer because we concentrated it so much by boiling it. Yeah. So you could add a little more hops if you want it to be really, well, it's never going to be fresh, but easy to drink. I guess the recipe here would be kind of on the sweeter side of our beer. Bitterness to gravity unit is actually low, as you can see, and that's why I think it's going to be sweeter than this beer. This is it's not a complicated grain bill. It's based on Marisota, so 42% Marisota, 25% Chateau Munich, the dark one, 25 ABC, and then just about 8.5% Cara Claire, 8.5% chocolate malts, around 900 EBC, 8.5% flaked oats, just to give it body, and you can really, yeah, it just has such a great body, and the oats really play a big role here. A little bit of special B, just to give it some more depth, some more kind of dried fruit notes maybe. 3.5%, 3.5% wheat malts. Basically, that was just to give it a really great head, along with the oats and along with the chocolate malts also improve the head. And yeah, we succeeded in that. It has the most amazing head on it. And then just a little bit of roasted barley, around 1%, just to make it a real stout. Yeah, I added also to the water, I just kind of a pretty balanced water profile. You can see calcium is pretty high. Yeah, sulfates are twice the chlorides, but yeah, it's just a pretty basic stout and dark ale Dubliner water profile. And then we boiled it for 6 hours. The last 2 hours with Chinook to about 50 IBUs, and then added a little more Chinook at 50 minutes. This is 15 grams, or just about 6 IBUs, the last 15 minutes. You can actually leave this one out. This beer has to age about 3 months to be really great. This one is about 1.5 months old right now, and it's starting to be great. But in 1.5 months, it'll be more round, more together. And the aroma or the flavor hops here are not really gonna matter after 3 months, not that much anyway. So you can leave them out if you want to. Oh, we fermented this with Nottingham yeast, 4 packages of Nottingham. Oh yeah, the mash. For this recipe, I would, on my own brew system, I would need to do a double mash for this one. There's a link down in the description on how to do that. But it's just mashed at 65 degrees Celsius, 60 minutes each time, and then do a mash out. Yeah, so 4 packages of Lellman Nottingham yeast, starting at 19 degrees Celsius, then ramp it up to 22 degrees Celsius for 14 days. Initially 7 days for the primary fermentation, diacetyl step 14 days, and then cold crash it for about 10 days. This was crystal clear when it came out. So yeah, it's just, yeah, and it's just a beautiful beer. Well, I guess that was it for all the vitals and everything. Yeah. Okay, so on the nose you get a little roastiness. I actually get the dried fruit now. I also get chocolate, I don't really get licorice. That's more in the flavor. Yeah. But it smells fantastic, and it even smells kind of fresh, not heavy. Yeah, and there it is. It's roasty, it's chocolate, it's mild coffee. It's also bitter. And then there is this licorice thing. Yeah, what can I say? It's just a fantastic, bitter, and easy to drink Imperial Stout. I'm 100% sure that the recipe here will be sweeter, and yeah, I don't know, maybe that'd be a good thing. I'm not actually sure. I kind of like it this bitter because it really cuts through everything. I had this last night with a really heavy, rich dinner, and it just cut through it all. And yeah, well, I like it this way. I would probably also like it a little sweeter, but it would be kind of two different beers. Yeah. So if I were you, I would just try to brew it as the recipe says. If you're up for it, try and do the 6-hour boil. It makes a world of difference in a beer like this. It will be two completely different beers, much more complex, much more depth in it. Yeah, these notes that you can't really put a finger on. Yeah, it's just a lovely beer. So I guess that was it. If you have any questions, you can write to me. Also, on my website, beerstories.dk, I've made a lot of new brewing tools that you should actually check out. There are converters, alcohol calculators with standard drinks on them, and yeah, all kinds of stuff like that. But I guess that was it. Yeah, have a happy brewing out there.